TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers, go Tigers.
Tiger Talk.
Go Tigers, go Tigers.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
What's up, fam? Thank y'all for joining us on Tough Tiger Talk Tuesdays, man. That's a lot of T's, man. But listen, man, if you're a member of the Black and Gold Nation and Purple and Gold Nation, man, it's all the same, man. Tough Tiger Talk. We in the building, man. Talking rough, tough Tiger Talk, man, about our LSU Football Tigers, man. And if you love the Tigers like we love the Tigers, man, you're going to love this show. So please feel free to hit the stream by hitting the like button, showing some love there. Also, please feel free to subscribe as well and join Tough Tiger Talk today in this piece. So much love to the family members, as this one's called QB rankings ahead of the 20 season. We also are going to come in and kind of break some things down. So welcome to the live stream in this sucker. I'm Big Q chiming in. We got my co-host as well riding with me, Uncle Mozzy. How you doing, my friend?
I'm all right. What's going on?
And no, pretty good, my friend. And also we got our other key contributor chiming in as well. My dog GM Kev is in the building. Kev, how you doing, brother?
Yo, what's up, fellas?
Doing good. Welcome on in, my friend. As we get it going for another episode, man, of Tough Tiger Talk on Tuesdays. Let's get it going, baby. So without further ado, man, we're going to start off with our number one topic here. And Mozzy, we were talking about this the last show, man. And listen, man, I don't appreciate you going at Max Johnson like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? But it's all right, though, bro. We got an article right here. You and GM Kev, man. But SEC football QB rankings ahead of the 2021 season. We're going to cover this one. We got some recruit news we're going to go over as well on this episode of Tough Tiger Talk family. So feel free, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share the show's link on your social media or anywhere where LSU football family members dwell. Help out the stream. So without further ado, we get into this article. SEC football QB rankings ahead of the 2021 season. Now, this is coming from Tiger Wire. And, man, listen, this was written by Chrissy Freud, and this is how they view the quarterbacks in SEC, right? So we'll start off in this one. As you see, scrolling down, you see that she marks as the top quarterback in SEC, according to her opinion, the writer's opinion, Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. And that's how they view him, as the top quarterback. And, of course, he enters the second year under Kiffin. He put up some pretty good numbers, by the way, in that first year under Lane Kiffin. Ended up being a breakout season for him. Finished with almost 71% completion rate, 3,337 passing yards. Kid had 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. And big numbers for him. They're saying that he is due for another increase in year two of Lane Kiffin's offense for Ole Miss. Who's the second guy? J.T. Daniels, the quarterback for Georgia. He wowed a lot of people last year, and some people say he had the it factor in last year's games. As you can see, he ended last season with 67.2% completion percentage, 1231 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He did mostly as an inexperienced group of pass catchers. An idea of what Daniels and Georgia could compete or complete in a normal offseason becomes very exciting. So they're moving forward, saying that this guy is going to be one of the top quarterbacks or the second best quarterback in the SEC. Well, let's keep it going. Maz, you alluded to this kid last year or in the previous show, Bryce Young from Alabama, who moves in there to take over for Matt, who left to go to New England, I think it was. There's a lot of hype surrounding Bryce Young, who was drawn in comparison to the likes of Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. And really, a lot of people think this kid should be higher on the board, by the way. I've seen some other few articles from SEC people who really are big on Bryce Young. but he saw very little action last year because of Mac Jones being on the field doing all the stuff that he was doing. But we know about those blue chip quarterback prospects, those big time quarterback prospects that Nick Saban likes to have. It always seems to roll out another top quarterback. We'll see how this guy prepares. And I've seen footage on him. His style is similar to that of a Russell Wilson, but we'll see how he looks in that Alabama offense in the SEC. And of course, there you go. For all our Tough Tiger family members, there is our quarterbacks, according to this writer, saying that Mr. Max Johnson and Miles Brennan is a combination, sit number 4th. And let's see what she has to say about that. Quarterback competition at LSU is very much considered wide open between Max Johnson, Miles Brennan, and Garrett Nussmeier. But Johnson seems to be the logical front runner, ending off last season with a 2-0 record as a team starter and taking the first reps at spring practice. Just a true freshman in 2020, Johnson showed an impressive amount of mobility with upside and room to improve as a passer. He posted a stat line with just under 59% completion percentage, 1,069 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. He also had 119 rushing yards off of 54 carries with 2 touchdowns. Based purely off of his seniority, Brennan has the upper hand. No, hold on now. That's going toward Brennan. That's not cut it out, Mozzy. Brennan. He has the upper hand.
What did you say about a spring chicken like a couple paragraphs ago?
No, we ain't gonna talk about all that, brother. We're gonna just focus on the task at hand. Okay. Brennan has the upper hand in 2021. Which marks his 5th season of his college career. But even after all this time, we still don't know exactly who Brennan is as a quarterback. He's a backup. He's only seen limited action as a starter, only taking the field on rare occasions between Danny Atlin and Joe Burrow. Brennan put on mostly a poor showing against Mississippi State in the 2020 season opener, showing positive progression in the games to follow, though those were against what was considered to be lesser opponents. Brennan sustained a severe injury to his abdomen against Missouri, ending the season. At that time, he had a completion percentage of 60.3%, 1,112 yards, throwing the ball, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So with that being said, this is what the writer's saying, that we're ranked 4th. What do you think about this article, Uncle Mozzy, of some of the SEC people putting Miles Brennan and Max Johnson 4th among the quarterbacks in the SEC?
I mean, first of all, tonight's show is definitely brought to you by Johnson & Sons Sports Screen. So when you wake up and you're 30 years old and you're playing in the SEC and your shoulders get hurt, just rub some Johnson & Sons Sports on you, and you'll wake up the next day feeling like new money. Now, what was the question, my friend?
What do you think about the writer's commentary of Max Johnson and Miles Brennan as ranked 4th in the SEC? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think it falls to reason. You don't want to know what I think. That combination of Mac Johnson and Miles Brennan is a backup. I was definitely wrong about him. One of the few times I've been wrong in my life. Right, so I'll go ahead on and admit that in open court. So I don't even know why he's in the equation. So what you're basically saying is Max Johnson for as long as he can play before his arthritis kicks in, and then you have to sub Miles Brennan in. So we're going to have to kind of help them along, and it's almost a quarterback by committee. And again, if we want to be respected as true blue legitimate threats, then I would think definitely we would have to get on some type of a legitimate kick, especially under center. Everybody, all the great schools, all the schools that traditionally win, have the last 20 years have had above average quarter play, except for LSU. Not the Joe Burrow one, but the 2 prior. We always had subpar quarterback play, and I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Since the BCS era, LSU has probably had the weakest showing at quarterback throughout the 4 championship appearances that they've been in. So this is nothing new for LSU fans. I mean, you could take it back from the Jerry Donato days all the way to right now. We always have had subpar quarterback play. We always focus on defense and the run game. And that's a travesty because we actually saw what we could be in this division running the table. There was no COVID, there was no anything. We ran the table. We had excellent quarterback play, and we saw what that looked like. I'm just glad I was able to live and see it because I was tired of the looking to the sideline for the play, hand the ball off to the running back. Every now and then, throw a quick slant. Let's do some read action, run around sweeps. I mean, it's really boring offensive football, especially for 2021. So I don't know where they go, but I do know with old man Johnson under center that it's going to be, it's going to be a really long season.
GM Kev, chime in on that, my brother. What you think about their rankings of us, and do you agree with Uncle Mozzy?
Yeah, Mozzy makes some good points. We don't want to get this trend that we get in 35 and 40-year-old college quarterbacks, because I think it takes away the purity of the game. They're supposed to be college kids playing against each other. But Q, I did do some research from last Tuesday, and you are right. There is no age limit. So, even though me and Mozzy don't like it, he is eligible. So it's saying that a 40, 41, 42, 45, even a 50-year-old student can be eligible to play quarterback. So I don't know where this door opens, but I'm really more confused and upset about the Trey Bradford transfer to Oklahoma. He was a kind of scat back. I think he's better a receiver, but the running backfield is loaded. So guys want to play. They don't want to wait around. So you're seeing a lot of swapping right now. Like every week somebody's transferring. I'm like, man, what's going on? I don't know why he did. I would have thought they had some plays, in the offense for him because he is fast, more like a gimmick. I want to say Kadarius Toney type, but I'm very upset about the transfer on that level.
Yeah, we was gonna get into the talk about some of the recruiting news, and we did see that with Trey Bradford and what happened with him transferring. I don't get that either. I don't know exactly what happened with that either, but ultimately, I think it's a lot of movement, to be honest with you, Kev. That on the LSU front, man. To be honest with you, it's a lot of movement on there. But let's get Mozzy in there. That's our guy that talks about that gets in on him moving on. I think when he went to Oklahoma, was that where he went, Kev? Let's see if I can pull something up on that. But
he went to Oklahoma.
All right, on Uncle Mozzy, chime in on that if you please. Trey Bradford, transferred to Oklahoma. What do you think about some of the losing a couple of these prospects, man? A couple of these players are eventually moving on. It's a lot of movement on that. What is your idea or your thought process on Trey Bradford's transfer to Oklahoma?
This is the trend that's been going on for the last couple of years. It just so happens we're on the back end of it. Let's not forget, 3 years ago we got Joe Burrow on that same type of college portal system.
That's true.
Right. So, and we didn't whine about it then, especially hoisting up the BCS title trophy. So, for me, it's like, okay, you went to Oklahoma. I wish you the best of luck. There'll be another 4 or 5 star recruit that's going to take his place. Nobody likes losing kids, obviously, but at the same time, we have to understand the climate in which we live in, where these guys have been playing football since they were 8 years old. This is their chance. This is their stage. This is life changing. And as much as we want him to stay and be I wish some of the people stay and be 3-4 year guys, all of them, because I like college football and I'm a fan. But I'm sure he's got his advisors. I'm sure he's got parents. I'm sure he's got friends, other relatives that are telling him, like, listen, LSU is a great landing spot. They're kind of shaky on quarterback. They're really loaded at running back, and they're gonna rely heavy on the guys that have been there. You may get in some kind of by committee or blowout type of situation, but if you want to go somewhere and start, Suge Knight told us this in '96. If you want to go somewhere where you don't want your producers all in the videos, all on the song, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what it was. So I could go somewhere, I could start and I can begin to evolve as a player and achieve the ultimate dream of going to the NFL. So that's the psyche of again, these are not uh, 25, 30, 35-year-old men. They are 18 and 19-year-old kids. They want to
Yeah.
play. They don't understand, they don't have patience. I know 35-year-old men that don't have patience. So to tell a kid, hey, you got to sit here and do this. I mean, didn't we see this with Alvin Kamara? We saw this with Joe Burrow. We saw
Yeah.
this with what's the kid came from Alabama, went to Oklahoma.
Oh, you talking about oh man, Hurts.
Hurts, Jalen Hurts. I mean, so this is a we saw it with what's his face God Randy Moss's son. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is something that's becoming more and more of a trend in the college ranks. You know, people are going to get in and they're going to see if am I a good fit? Now,
Yeah.
in some cases it works out for them. In some cases it doesn't. In the case of Moss's kid, had to sit out 1 year, then he got hurt the following year. That was a very unfortunate thing, but eventually it kind of all worked out for him. But everybody's son is not a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. So, you know, people have got to do what they got to do. They're gonna make moves that are conducive for them to achieve the ultimate dream. And again, these are some of the issues that I have with the college and kind of professional coercement right there, because just like with the NBA, you only want the prospects to go do the one and done, or to have to sit out a year, and you only are doing that so that you keep the ratings going on for March Madness. Obviously, if a Zion Williamson could have skipped over Duke and came straight to the NBA, you know, Duke would have lost a lot of revenue, a lot of TV time. Same thing with these kids. If he could have worked out or tried out for a pro team, he could have skipped college altogether if he was ready to go. A lot of these kids, you know, have the talent level. They might not have the maturity, but I think that is gonna have to come to a time when we open up the portal a little bit more, and because there's only so many colleges, there's only so much spotlight
Mhm.
that could go around. But you're getting more and more and more kids that are really good at playing the game. So I mean, the talent pool is getting larger and larger, but the job openings are not opening up. They haven't had an expansion team in what, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they haven't had an expansion team in almost 20 years. Um, and there's 1,500 jobs for 20 million people. So there's got to be a breaking point at at somewhere. I don't know whether that's going to be in the form of another league that's just as tangible or closely, in close footstep with the NFL. That could be a possibility, but then it becomes an issue of support for that. So I mean, all of this is going to be a growing trend, and you'll see sooner or later. I've been watching some of the spring league football. That's going to catch on because these people won't be denied. Just like he transferred out to another school, they're going to be, people that aren't drafted. They're going to be kids that won't be able to go to the school of their dream, and they're going to have to go to an outside league. And I think that number one, it'll give us more as fans. It'll give us quality football year round, and also as fans for the product, it is going to pit one against the other. It's going to implement a system of checks and balances. So some of the shady calls, like the Saints robbery that happened, and all of those things, the NFL won't be the only game in town if this trend continues.
Hey, can I ask you guys something? Where because I think this kind of case with Trey Bradford is kind of different because I don't think LSU seen him as a 4-down running back.
No.
I mean, don't you agree? He kind of like fits more if he work out a receiver better.
Yeah, or scat position, but
Yeah,
unfortunately, with LSU, we don't even have a quarterback. So
yeah.
how could you scheme or
Hold on,
game plan?
Mozzy. We got a quarterback, Max Johnson.
How could you game plan or
You
scheme
gonna speedball
something?
right past what I just said. You got a quarterback. His name is Max Johnson.
You got a 30-year-old quarterback that won two
Stop.
games
The
because
man is
nobody had
29
game
years old,
film on
bro.
him. He'll be 30 when the season starts. You had a 29-year-old quarterback that won two games because nobody had game film on him, and they didn't even know who he was.
Well, I do see what you was talking about guys not being denied, and I can see something kind of set up in the futures, like what the NBA has as far as paying to play college athletes, because that's what's going to the Supreme Court right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the battle. So yeah, what you're getting into right now, I think we're gonna see that because that's why we see all the movement. Guys wanting to
Absolutely.
get a chance to play, and that's what we was telling Q last week. You can have the statue of the big school SEC and you winning, but guys are being very cerebral, looking at this roster and saying, well, how many running backs on here? Guys coming in at a 4 or 5 star. They looking to play before you, so only so many can get on the field at the time, and you don't want to waste your years. So I think guys looking at it like, I don't want to wait. I'm jumping straight to my best, option. I don't care if they don't get a lot of TV time. I just want to put something on tape and, go straight to the league and, get my chances there.
Absolutely. I mean, and going to that point, GM Kev, it's like, it's not an impossibility anymore. See, with the advent of the internet, the advent of social media, you can create your own hype, your
Right.
own buzz. Where
Yep.
in 2007, Tim Tebow needed ESPN. He needed Fox Sports College. He needed all of these people to kind of hype him up and blow him up to what it was. But
Hmm.
now you're looking at kids that are, like Trey Lance came from North Dakota State
Right.
as a what, a second or third round pick. That is unheard of. That would have
Yeah.
never happened 25 years ago.
You're right.
Not an African American quarterback coming from a North Dakota state going in the top 3, top 5. No way. Warren Moon couldn't even get that kind of love, and he was the best black quarterback that we had seen up until that time, and he couldn't even get that kind of recognition or notification.
Right.
So I mean, it's to the point now, and it's almost like okay, like with my store, right? I'm in retail.
Hmm.
I can remember a time, when I'm first learning about business itself, that it was all. I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but it was all location, location, location,
Right.
and that reigned true for so long. But now, with the advent of social media and the internet, I literally can take a 15-foot wide space, right, and create my own dynamic and draw my own traffic to it with the tools and the utilizations I have at my fingertips. So
Yeah.
just like with that, these kids, they'll go play anywhere, create their own reel, their own hype, their own buzz, and then
Mhm.
they'll let everybody else decide. But the thing is, they have got to get somewhere to play. They can't create highlight reels and game reels if they're sitting on the sideline.
That's
So
true.
you're gonna see kids going to HBCUs. You're gonna see kids going to D2s, D3s, because those talent pools for the longest have yet to be tapped. These are the guys that go back and coach or try to, they play arena. But these guys are really, really talented. The spotlight has never been on them because they don't get television time.
Hmm.
Nobody writes about them or reports about them. But all of that has changed with the advent of YouTube and other media outlets because I can create my own dynamic, whether I'm
That's true.
a 2 or 3 star recruit coming out of high school and I get to college at Itawamba State. And I mean, you remember Joe Horn was an oddity. Jerry Rice was an oddity. That wasn't
Yeah.
the norm. You had to go to USC, UCLA, Alabama, Florida, those Michigan, Ohio State, Texas. If you weren't going to those schools, that's what made what Grambling did. And Coach Eddie Robinson, God bless the dead, that's what made what he did so phenomenal. But he was able to put all of those African American youth in the NFL through a subpar program, or it was viewed as a subpar program. But now it doesn't matter because they're looking for warriors. They're looking for indicators. They're looking for work ethic. They're looking for mental capacity at the quarterback. They're looking for height. They're looking for speed. They're looking for arm strength. So like I can see all of this in the flow of a game. Your opponents don't really matter because if we're gonna be honest, even when you're taking an LSU and Alabama, they play some of the weakest opponents that that you can play. 5 games out of a 12-game season, 6 games out of a 12-game season. We only really watch it, and we're only really zeroed in on the really tough games that start when conference play starts in October. But August and September largely have always been the joke. And you're going to get that 1 or 2 joke game during that run of the SEC, probably Vanderbilt or Kentucky. But I mean, if it wasn't for a couple marquee games, 3 or 4 games, the schedules from North Dakota State and LSU wouldn't really be that different when you really look at it.
Well, Mozzy, let me ask you this. Don't you think the NCAA might have a problem going forward because these athletes are standing more up now and they're demanding to be paid because, these universities are getting a boatload of money and they're not benefiting. So, you're trying to, like you said, you're seeing guys go to these smaller schools. And if there's another, I want to say, an organization comes along in the short future where guys don't have to go to college just to try to make it to the league, but have like a G League football, college/NFL G League in that form, more guys are going to do that than go to college.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. The only issue that I would see is, unlike basketball, where it's kind of an easy fix, football has a lot of moving parts. So the financial obligation to create a stable league that the fandom would support, that's for me, that's where I see the complication coming in at for a college kid to kind of showcase their talent. So I don't think it's going to be a situation where they're going to ever get paid. I think that they'll get some type of a severance package. But you see, here's what the monkey wrench is going to be thrown at when you're talking about paying a college player. Okay, who should get more money, the 5-star recruit quarterback or the walk-on place kicker? You see, then it becomes an issue of morality. Okay, so are we treating this like a genuine league? So are we no longer, we're not amateurs? See, because now you have to classify intramural school sports as professional once you begin to get paid for it, and that the dynamic itself changes, the tax structure changes because they're almost like employees or contracted employees. So you got to understand the ripple that would have to pay a college player. You understand what I'm?
But I think that it's with some schools. I do understand where you're going with it. Some schools can afford it, but the smaller schools might get hurt in that, like you said, because they budget wouldn't be big as a LSU, Alabama, Florida, or whatever, who can pay those people. Because we got to understand, they get millions into their football program. So I'm not saying you got to pay them NFL money. I'm just saying at some point, some compensation on some level going to have to be administered because, and maybe they, change the rules that a guy wouldn't have to stay 3 years before he eligible for the NFL or something. You got to look into all of that. Isn't that why you remember Maurice Clarett? Remember he sat out after winning the championship at Ohio State?
Yeah, but Maurice Clarett had to sit out because he had to let
he wasn't eligible to go to NFL.
Down. Right, but the heat around him as an individual, he wasn't the most favorable individual. So he kind of
personally, yeah.
Right. So I think he was advised to not only sit out for the eligibility situation, but to kind of let everything that was around him die down for that one season. But I mean, you come into other clauses because you got private schools versus state-run schools.
Yeah.
There's just there's a large looming issue. Do Division III schools have less of a financial obligation than a Division I school? Because if it's the same amount of players, then why should a D3 school players get paid less than a D1 school player? Now you start this thing where parents are trying to now pimp their kid out to go to the highest bidder. You see, and that's just a really ugly situation that I think that we need to keep it at an amateur basis. Now, what I will agree with, I think that those kids need some type of a stifling. So if whatever that amount is. So if we're gonna say, okay, because we use your image and likeness, we're gonna give you a budget of $1,000 a month.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I think
But you know what?
that's
Let's get Q take on it because this is going to be a hot topic, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. Because over the years, I've heard so many college athletes from the basketball, football, or even softball that programs that got a good softball team that so much money is being poured in, and those kids, they're part of the university that worked their tail off to get there. The proceeds don't go to them and they feeling like, hey, we don't want to put the work in. So where's the compensation for us? So what you think about it, Q?
I mean, this is long overdue for them to compensate the athletes. To be honest with you, they've been operating an antiquated model that been happening for over 100 years, and it was about time for them to change this whole thing. And I remember Ed O'Bannon. What was that in the late '90s? Was pushing this.
Not 95. Him and his, late '90s started pushing it after him and his brother won the championship over at UCLA.
Right. He was the one. It was the one that was pushing this early on, and it finally started gaining traction because they started looking at how the NCAA was operating and running things. And if you go and look at the budget for colleges like Texas, they're making hella cake off of this, man. They're making millions, tens of millions of dollars, and then they're saying, well, the compensation is that you get to come here for free. and you get a free education, free meals and everything, and that's good enough for you. That's the trade. And as a result, for that, we give you an opportunity to play football here and go to the school for free, where it will cost a regular student X amount of dollars to do that. And they say, well, that's free compensation. And for years, people went along with that. And then, of course, some athletes had the idea, nah, man, we got to do something about this. And remember some of the most ridiculous things, like what happened with Pryor, the quarterback from Ohio State, when he was trying to sell his signature.
Yeah.
And they completely shut that down and went at him for trying to deal out his own signature. So, I mean, it's an antiquated system. Now, the particulars will have to be worked out because not all universities make big money like Texas or some of the really big institutions out there off of football. So, of course, this would have to be something that is adjusted from depending on how much money you're making and the percentages and also. But I think that easily could be worked out. But I think this is a good ruling, man, because it does compensate players, and I think it's something that goes on right because these colleges, man, they're making all kind of money, and they're taking all this money and they're buying up property around the school. They're expanding, they invest in that money. I mean, they're doing a lot of. These schools are becoming powerhouses economically for the kind of money that they're making off of sports by merely saying that we don't need to pay you because you're getting a free education. That's good enough for you. So I think it's a positive. But like I said, this is only the beginning. They'll eventually work out the particulars from university to university or from level to level. Right. But let's move from this to another topic of discussion. I wanted to talk about the recruiting news, Uncle Mozzy. I know you got some news that you want to share with us about some of the recruits. We're talking about LSU possibly looking to steal a 5-star athlete from Oklahoma. We're talking about the Tigers predicted to land a 4-star defensive back from Florida. And, of course, LSU offers Mason Taylor after in-person workout. They offer him he got offers for him. So, let's speak on that and other news that you got in the recruiting side of things.
Well, the main thing is I don't want to jump the gun on any of the future recruits because I'm just really still on the fence about how that's going to go. But with that being said, that does not mean we haven't jumped up a couple slots, starting off at number 5 and kind of topping off at number 3 as is for our recruiting class. This is the third straight top 5 recruiting class. And we got a couple really, really good recruits in that class. You got the number 2 safety, number 29 overall, Jacoby Matthews out of Ponchatoula. He committed back in April. You got one of the best tight ends in the country, and Jake Johnson, out of Georgia. He goes to Oconee County High School. He's number 81 overall, and I mean this is overall out of all of the Max Preps, players. 81 overall. We landed him as the number 2 tight end. Another 4-star recruit. So that's pretty good as well. And we did get a couple top 25 receivers. We did get a top 25 receiver. Our offensive line also improved. by getting a couple top 5 or top 10 offensive linemen in the draft. And again, we're going to need that going forward as we build and get our running game back up. We loaded with running backs. Our only deficiency, unfortunately, is quarterback. So we got another top 20 quarterback, Aaron Anderson, top 25 receiver out of Card. I think Walker Howard is probably the biggest pickup that we can get. And I didn't talk about him last week because I wasn't familiar. I didn't realize that he had committed on last week's show, but he did commit earlier this month out of Lafayette. He's the number 20th overall player and the number 2 5-star quarterback in the draft. So I see where they're going at with it. I don't want to say it's a wash or white for this year, but if you can see what they're doing, they're putting some offensive pieces together. They got 2 top 5 linemen to go with the linemen that they already have, as well as bringing in a new line coach. We got a number 2 overall quarterback commit for next year, and Walker Howard. So that's going to be really, really good going forward. We added a couple top 25 receivers, and if we can get a guy that can step up on that offensive side of the ball as another receiver or possibly a tight end or one of those stables of running backs that we have, I think that if we do that going forward, I can see where this recruiting class going forward in the next year or two is definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, as long as we all feed off into the system and kind of let Coach O do his thing and trust that he'll right the ship. But that's going to be dependent upon how deep we go this year. I think for LSU fans, diehard LSU fans, we're going to have to go. It's going to have to be orange, peach, citrus, Alamo, one of those bigger bowls or bust. I don't think we're looking for championship, but I definitely think we got to get one of those bigger bowls, and that'll allow this class to kind of migrate in. He can renew his system and what he had going back to Burrow. And I think that we can move forward and we can kind of put everything behind us.
So you're not really, I know you're not high on Max Johnson. That's why you're pushing the narrative to go at the not so much at the national championship, but some of the larger bowls.
I'm not pushing any narrative. Let's look at it. All right. We got Lucas Taylor, number 13 interior offensive lineman, right? Check this out. Aaron Anderson, Ed Nicard, number 25 overall wide receiver, right? We got Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of Monroe, goes to Neville, number 4 5-star offensive tackle, right? Bo Bordelon, number 48 overall offensive tackle. This is out all the Max Prep players out the country. So when you look at what's going on, LSU had, we got Jake Johnson. I will tell you, tight end, number 2 overall tight end, 4-star recruit. It's out of Georgia. So, and that's a big steal to take some. We skipped over Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State for him to come here. That's a good pickup. So, where we normally would be picking up defensive players, like we don't, for whatever reason, we got a lot of offensive pieces, and I don't think we're putting those pieces there thinking that Max Johnson is going to be the guy going forward. Long term. He's only a sophomore. I don't see him putting pieces there for his junior season. I mean, for his senior season, do either of you? I don't.
No, I get that, but I'm saying in terms, but you looking, that's in of course next year. We talking about this year and what can happen. I mean, that could be very well set up for Garrett Nussmeier to come in and as another quarterback to compete for that position because Brennan will be going.
Walker Howard. When Walker Howard comes, he's so highly touted. He still got like another season to go. So I think when he comes in, when he does come in, I think he'll start right away. I think we'll be so exhausted at the quarterback position, and we'll be so ready for a breath of fresh air when we get a number 2, potentially a number 1 overall quarterback, 5-star recruit coming in. I think that he's gonna come in. Maybe we'll run the ad in the paper. But we've already got the guy selected for the job, if that makes sense.
That's in the future.
Well, okay. That's what we're playing for. It's all about the future. This season, bro, let me tell you something. I love spades. One of my favorite card game. And I'm really, really good at it. But sometimes you got to go board. and pray that you get the full books. And that's where we at. We gotta pray we get home, bro.
No.
That's all.
No,
Hey,
we
if
looking at,
we get a
bro.
nice
Listen.
Chick-fil-A bowl this year, that we can get
No, no, no,
I
no,
just
no,
gave you the
no, no,
rundown of the
no.
2022 class, right?
That's beautiful. That's
All right.
absolutely that's beautiful. But but I'm not totally banking on that. That's something that that
Give
seems
me
to be
board
okay.
right now. GM Kev, give us board.
No, ain't no
Give
board.
us
Ain't
board.
no. Let's not give us no board. We need wins
I ain't
right
got
now.
no
Okay,
space.
well, let's look at it like this.
Give me
Going
board,
board
bro. Board up
this
the
year
house.
would have been bigger than last year, so that is a step up because if you still can get to one of those bowls, Mozzy talking about,
Yeah.
you are making the leap to climb back up to the championship status. But let me tell you this: we're not out there running for Arch Manning, so we can get Arch Manning. This whole conversation talk changes completely.
Yeah.
As I know it's a pipe dream, but we still in the running. I think Max can do a good job this year, bro. I think Mozzy, I think he can get 9 or 10 wins.
Hey, and that's all. That's all I'm looking for. No.
You don't like that.
No. I no. Listen, I like it, but here's the thing.
No, you don't.
If we win too much, right? It's going to be a stain, like on the table. It's going to be a stain on the rug.
I've never heard that ever in life.
Oh, because of the age.
If we win too much,
a stain on the rug.
I've never ever heard that ever in life.
How many 30-year-old quarterbacks you seen play in your life on a college level?
But they don't have nothing. If you got another,
that has everything to do with it. How could you have witnessed something that's never been done?
Uncle Miles, let me say this. Okay, they didn't see Joey B coming last year. I mean, a couple of years ago, they didn't see Joey Burrow tearing up the league like he did.
Right.
Let's give Max Johnson some credit here. Now they are trying. Now the LSU brought in some new hires on the offensive side of the ball in terms of the offensive coordinator to come in and kind of reinvent the system of a couple of years ago that Joe Brady was running. So if that's indeed the case, we expecting a lot of flair to the offense that they didn't have last year. So what I'm saying is Johnson has the maturity to operate. I'm not saying he's going to be Joey Burrow, but we still have a lot of weapons that's available on this team.
Okay.
We don't have to sit up here and say we got to aim at another bowl because we plan for perhaps reaching out to get Arch Manning or God knows whoever else. I'm only interested in winning. I want to win this year. We're coming off a 5-5 season last year.
Chick-fil-A bowl. Chick-fil-A
we suck.
bowl.
And I'm not just waiting for that. I'm saying if you get Max Johnson here and you got all these weapons here, LSU's very talented offensively. They still have a lot of fantastic pieces in place offensively. Speaking of defense, it's something you can celebrate. There's a lot of really great pickups. We see in the maturation of Derek Stingley, who will be paired with Eli Ricks in the secondary, Jay Ward and Todd Harris and the rest of those guys. Then you look at the upfront guys like Ali Gay and Pharrell and Logan, and then the linebackers and Devonta Q Strong. And I mean, come on. I mean, the defense, Coach O's really excited about that defense, and then the offense coming back with the Joe Brady principles and his disciples operating there. So the continuity of the offensive line and an experienced pass rusher there, and of course the reemergence of the running game with T.Y. Price, TD Price, and the rest of Emory and the rest of these guys operating. So listen, I'm saying we don't have to. This LSU is going to be a player in this thing. National championship, we'll have to see. But this is a team that a lot of people are not looking at and understand that this team is going to win some games.
Hey, speaking of
games.
Speaking of disciples, Max Johnson went to school with those guys, right?
Yeah, I heard that. Was he on the picture?
He took the picture.
He took the picture. Okay,
yeah, all right. He was the one behind the camera.
But all seriously though, he can run this offense like really his dad did in the NFL, ball control, because the strength of the team is going to be on the defensive side of the ball, right, Q? Mozzy, y'all agree?
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be on the defensive, especially the defensive line. So you got two good running backs. He can use his feet as well, getting out of trouble. So I think it's more of a ball control offense than more of the spread them out wide like Joe Burrow did. A lot of things came together that season to have that success. And I don't think as a whole, those receivers have went through that as a whole yet to, have a breakout season like that. So I think it's going to be like slow starting off, You get to the middle of the season, you can see improvement, and by the end, I think we should have a chance to play for a playoff spot. That's how much I'm banking on this team, even though that I think they can go higher, Mozzy. I don't think they just Chick-fil-A bound. I think they can be right up there at the top.
Uncle Mozzy said the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Good grief.
You know what this is? I'll tell you what LSU is this year. LSU is, right? All right, I'm at the club. I got a couple drinks. We got the good smoke going. Everything's cool. I see the girl. She's the most beautiful thing in the world. We have a great night. We dance the night away. We drinking. We feeding each other cherries off the thing and the pineapples, and we get to the hotel room and everything's all great. And the next morning I wake up, there's a wig on the dresser, there's eyelashes on the nightstand, there's like a butt pad across the room. And see, that's what's happened with LSU, right? They gave us a great night out with Joe Burrow, and then now we got 30-year-old quarterbacks 2 years removed. Like, that's a problem.
Why do you keep picking at the man's age? What's the problem?
Is that not? Listen, we were undefeated, and the guy literally threw for like 50,000 yards 2 seasons ago, and now we have a geriatric quarterback.
What?
That's a problem. Yes, he's got a Walker, Texas rank. Yes, he's what? Bro, listen. We got an old quarterback. And like you say, to your point,
my man, what are you talking about?
They didn't see Joe Burrow coming,
not
but
69.
They didn't see Joe Burrow coming, but they'll definitely see him coming because he's gonna smell like mothballs and menthol. You see, how can he hide? See. Now it's funny, right? It's funny now, right? This brought to you by Johnson & Son Mothball.
It's funny because you keep bringing his age up like it's a problem,
and it is.
It's not a problem. Why do you keep like pushing it like it's a problem? He's 29 years old. Sometimes you're gonna get a student athlete that's a little older than the rest of the guys that he's playing with. It's college. Anybody can go to college. And they can play they can play collegiate sports if they're healthy enough. They give them physicals to take.
Let me ask you a question, right? If breaking
news, you're just gonna speed past all through the stats and all the statistics that I just hit you with and come up with another funny story, right?
No, it's not a funny story. It's just a simple question. A simple yes, a simple no. If ESPN broke tonight and said that Charles Barkley just got picked up by the Pelicans, how would you and Brother DC handle it?
That's a total different
thing
altogether. Come on,
thing.
Bro. No, it's
what's the first thing you're gonna
man?
What is that old ass dude doing? That's the same first thing you're gonna say.
But Charles Barkley is like 56, 57 years old, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but listen, in the grand scheme.
But in Mozzy's mind, that is what this kid is to him.
But the collegiate ranks are like dog years. The most you can do is 5, right? The average quarterback is getting out there at 20. He's a decade past that. So, like, if let's do this. There are basketball players that have played till 42, right? So if Charles Barkley's like 56, that's pretty comparable with what Max Johnson is doing, considering the fact
is it not comparable? No, it's not.
Considering the fact
you can't equate a 50-plus-year-old man to a guy that's 29 years old,
right? But
and obviously fit enough to play in college. How do you keep equating him and calling him geriatric? He's 20. How is he geriatric at 29 years old?
He's geriatric because he's got an AARP card in his helmet. He's got a Medicaid card.
What the whole thing? It's very unusual. We haven't seen it as much as far as the starting quarterback.
That's all you can say. That's all you can say about it.
But we haven't seen it in about 20 years. Last time when Chris Winkie did it, but he was a 5th-year senior at 28 years old.
This is a second-year sophomore at 30.
Yeah, so by him being 30 as a sophomore, and if he stays 4 years, he'll be 32 years old. It's like, that would be something very new.
Your starting quarterback can almost get elected president of the United States.
Yeah. But for us this year, we just want him to go win. Basically, the real point, we want him to go win.
That's what it is.
Take it all home, and then look. If he want to sit out a year and go to the league, that's fine. He help us get one, and he'll have a 3 or 4, maybe 5-year run, hopefully in the NFL. But it's going to be the first time that a guy at 30 years old, I think, at a starting quarterback at a big school as a sophomore. So I don't know how that conversation gets lost, like Mozzy say, to be, look down the middle of it. But we just want a winner. And so He can also be a 5-5 guy at 30 years old, which would be even horrible. So it's kind of like he can't win and lose in this situation. Because if you win with him, you saying he's gonna get backlash, and if he loses, oh, he's too old. So I don't know how he wins in this situation.
I don't think like that at all. The way I see it is, it's about wins and losses. I don't care how old the man is. He's 29 years old, and when he's 30, he passed. He did everything he was supposed to do. I don't care what the national press say about the Tigers, because they always talking mess about the Tigers. We should be used to that.
9-3 would be perfect for him. That would be enough wins to get us to the bowl and make everybody happy, but enough losses to
but why they couldn't beat Alabama this year?
His mortality.
Why they can't beat Alabama? They got to start quarterback.
Watch when he beats Kev. Watch when he beats Alabama. Watch what.
No. He can't. Listen. He can't. Okay. This is what we're gonna do, right?
Max Johnson.
Because I'm tired of your mouth. What we're gonna do? We're gonna put stuff on this.
Max Johnson. Watch all. See Mozzy hating on Max Johnson, talking about he got a AARP card and he's on Medicaid and he got.
Do we have a large combination rights
companies and all that? What he's Shaq O'Neal now? All the thing I'm saying is this.
We have a large combination rights on this. I say he won't get over 8 wins. Large combination rights.
Why?
Right now.
Why do you
get over 8
why?
wins?
Why would you
large
say that?
Combination rights right now.
No, I'm saying, why are you saying just 8 wins? You're basing it on his age. That's unfair to do him like that. I mean, he could play. You saying that you're backtracking on what you said in the previous week, that we don't have an unfair advantage on the rest of the team. Wasn't that your wording?
You have an unfair advantage at quarterback. And what I told you is, if you begin to win, people are going to say that you have a grown man playing the most thinking position on the field. So from a maturation standpoint, a 30-year-old man is going to make much more informed, aware, and conscious decisions than a 19-year-old kid. So should you win, that's going to be the main talking point as to why you have a distinct advantage. You cannot expect a 19-year-old kid to think and act like as responsible and as lethargic as a 30-year-old man.
Dude,
but Mozzy, okay,
that's not
but right
rules,
now,
man. So it's not it's not a disadvantage.
No, but right advantage. Now, it does. The conversation does go in Q favor, because right now the rule is that there is no late age restriction.
Tell them that. So explain that to them. So it's no disadvantage or advantage.
So people are old and go back to school to get degrees. Now, all of them don't go and be athletes. So if you're going to be a student athlete and you pass at 38 years old and you're qualified and you win the starting position on that football team, you can start legally in the NCAA at 38 years old, being a freshman quarterback.
And you're right. And guess what? I've seen this before. And I tell you when I've seen this. I've seen this on Unnecessary Roughness.
That's a movie.
Right. I've seen this on seriously.
Come on, dude.
No,
that's a movie.
No. I see. What's the other movie? I seen this. That was a Texas Armadillo.
I don't care about Hollywood movies. I'm talking about football and winning games, man.
But this is
best players on the field, bro. That's what it's bottom line.
This is what I'm telling you. That's why I brought up those movies, right? Because this sounds like a gimmick. True powerhouse schools don't have Waterboy and Texas Armadillo, Unnecessary Roughness type gimmicks. They have good recruitment classes. You have a 30-year-old quarterback. That's a gimmick. It
is not a gimmick.
It is. He might as well put on a dress and get some fake boobs and get like a beard. Bro, it's a gimmick.
He's the bearded lady? Is that what you said? He's the attraction to the circus? Is that what's going on?
It's a gimmick. And this is what it is. It's enough for Coach O to say how old the quarterback was and his hand was forced and he worked with what he had. If he does win, he's gonna look masterful. So he can do no wrong, especially if we get to a bowl of any sort. He's going to run quarterback by committee to ensure that he gets to a bowl, but this is gimmicky. The Alabamas
no
and the Floridas and the Texas, they wouldn't do this. Like what respectable program would do this?
I see both points. I see
This
both
is
points.
this is
Yeah.
not a gimmick.
What
There
respectable
is no
program would do this? It's a
there is
simple question.
Mozzy. Any program, if they wanted to get a student athlete
Well, why
that
haven't
was
they
over,
done it? Why haven't they done
who
it?
I don't know why they haven't done it, but the point is they can do it. That's the point.
Because
Yeah.
it's you know what, and they can very well have a female wide receiver, but why won't they do it?
Listen, bro. All thing I
Why
can tell
is
you is
that? But
this.
she's
All
eligible
I
to play, but why won't
listen.
they do it?
Only thing I'm saying is this. Listen, there is no gimmick to what Max Johnson brings. He's a good quarterback. He's athletic. He's intelligent. He might be a 29-year-old student athlete, but that's not against the rules.
It's not.
He's not violating.
But this is
Can
what
I
I'm
finish
saying.
my thought on
Go ahead.
Kamaz? I'm
sorry,
just
brother.
saying
I'm sorry. You're
is
right.
that it is not if LSU is doing this, Alabama and every other school in the country could do the same thing because they're pretty much governed by the same rules. So if they wanted to add a older student athlete, hell, we could set a trend right here. LSU gets if they
No,
get
you won't.
older student athletes, and Max Johnson balls out, and I don't see why he can't. Last year he looked spectacular in LSU's offense. He was out there scurrying around. He was running. He was picking up touchdowns with his feet. He was throwing touchdowns. Yep. He electrified the offense on the back end of the year and really helped get LSU to 500 where they could have suffered a sub 500 season. So with him, he has a idea of what to a degree what LSU is doing. And I'm saying you're getting disciples of Joe Brady's miraculous clone system of Coach Payton's system, and you're giving that to him along with some of the offensive weapons that they still have on this team and a offensive line that is intact for another season. So I'm saying that this team, this LSU team, could shock a lot of people because they still have a lot of firework. They have a smart quarterback at the helm. He may be 28, 29, or 30. Regardless, he can still operate. It is not a advantage for us to have him over somebody else because they could do the same thing. They can go out and get a older student athlete who's not as young as some of these other guys is. But be that as it may, the reality is you're on a field of competition. So whether you're playing against 19, 20, 20, 22, 23, 24, or otherwise, this is merely a smaller field of play in terms of what you'll see in the NFL. When you go up to the NFL level, you will be playing as a 22 or 23-year-old against 23, 24, 25 and older players. So, I mean, what you see in the next level is what you see in the collegiate level to a degree. So above, so below. Same deal. So it mirrors it to a degree. So it's not, even though it's rare that you would see a quarterback that old, it still is. I still say the guy could play the position. I seen what he did last year in that offense for LSU last year, and I can imagine what he can do with this offense this year. Let me throw this question at you because Damian drops a great point. He says, if we win the championship, would you feel like we don't deserve it?
Absolutely. Because
isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Go ahead, Mozzy, explain it.
Here's the thing.
That's not cool, bro.
There are 24,000 high schools in the U.S. 80% of which have football programs. So out of 19,200 high schools, you mean to tell me the LSU recruiting staff couldn't find one quarterback between the age of 17 and 21 that was decent enough to play, that was comparable with Max Johnson's skill level and ability? So,
well, they tried, Mozzy. They tried, but they signed with other schools. I mean, it's hard to compete. You only got so many spots, and guys might have LSU in their top 5 or top 10 when they go on the recruiting visits, but you can't get all those people. So then, what do you do?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. But again, out of 19,000 schools, they didn't have a 21-year-old that was comparable to Max Johnson's skill level. That's all Max Johnson is not Joe Burrow. Max Johnson is not Mac Jones. Max Johnson is Max Johnson. Max Johnson is an average quarterback.
What does that mean?
Okay, so they didn't have
you don't know what he could be yet.
So they didn't have another average quarterback out of 19,000 high schools in the U.S. that was age 18 to 21.
We covered LSU last year, and for the last several seasons, we've been covering LSU football. The reality is that they did go out to recruit quarterbacks. They got Nussmeier. They got Nussmeier here. They're trying to get Arch Manning here. They got other really good quarterbacks that they're trying to bring
We
here
got Walker,
to
though.
play.
We got Walker. That's good.
So that's what I'm saying. So I mean, even though you might have Max Johnson for 1 year until another guy comes in and have a competition to head that offense, the reality is Max Johnson does give you an opportunity to win. And I think you're underselling him a bit. I think you're underestimating what he can bring to an offense with similar offensive capabilities as the one we seen 2 years ago.
He could bring the liquor because he's old enough.
Well, he might be able to do that, but he also bring the liquor because they'll be celebrating a lot of wins this upcoming season, and the bigger wins than your little Chick-fil-A bowl or whatever you want them to
Well,
do.
hold on. Let me ask y'all this: isn't it possible that Max Johnson can have a season similar to what Kurt Warner did in the NFL? Because wasn't he bagging groceries and came in the NFL as a 28, 29-year-old quarterback?
Yes, that's different.
And hold on. He still made the Hall of Fame. Correct?
Yes, but he
Okay.
also had a gang of experience playing arena league, and he never stopped playing football. And he was only 28 when he came into the league under a really good Dick Vermeil coach system. So there was a lot of variables. It wasn't a 30-year-old guy playing college football with a bunch of 19-year-olds. Like, see, that's the problem. So,
That
like,
is not a problem. That's
I
what
mean,
it's not a problem
because
How-
we're on the receiving end of it. But like,
No,
would
it's
much-
it would not be an issue if Alabama had a 29-year-old quarterback and we were playing up against them. And if they won, I would simply say we lost because we wasn't the best team that day. Because we should have got after this guy and made it happen. We should have shut down one dimension. Whatever we had to do to win, we didn't do it. I do not buy into the mentality that the guy's 29 or 28 and we have an advantage. There is no rule saying that he can't play. He's healthy enough to play. It's all about wins and losses. Max Johnson gives LSU the best chance to win right now. Now, all those guys that you talk about that could be coming in the future, that good if they do, but we know that that's not always the case because some of these kids change their mind because they see a better opportunity. Somebody might have transferred from a system they wanted to be, which opened a spot for them, and they go and transfer over there. We just had a guy, Eric Gilbert, who didn't know what the hell he wanted. He came down here, he played 1 year, he opted out at the back before the year ended, and then he transferred and was going over here, Florida. Then he went go over there. Then he ended up going where he is now. So, like I said, all we have for certain is what we have on our team right now going into the season. All the other stuff, the prospects, that's fine. Hopefully they stay, but we know most of the time some of them leave, some of them stay. We'll deal with that when we get to it. But the reality is that Max Johnson is the best option for you to win at the quarterback position this year. You still have wide receivers in place that are pretty good. You got an intact offensive line. You have really good running backs that's there. You have Joe Brady's system returning with his disciples to run it. And about the picture that he took from the disciples. I hear you on that. But then Ocho has the defense in place. He's very excited about the defense. The secondary is excellent. We have good linebacker play. We can get after the quarterback. So there's several different things to be really happy about. So I would rather kind of caution you to pay attention to those aspects of the team as opposed to the age of this college student. I mean, that's what we need to focus on here. Because he showed, what did he show you last year before we started fixating on his age? He showed you that he can play.
Wheelchair?
No. He showed that he could play the game. He put up really good statistics last year. And that sorry offense that we were operating on the back end that helped LSU get to 500 again. And he can help with that, with this new offense or the return of the offense that we were using to kind of propel LSU forward. But a lot of people share that sentiment and think LSU will not be valid in the SEC this year. I think they're wrong. And that pressure off of LSU will help LSU get respectable outcome on this upcoming season. Because most certainly if you're thinking like that, then a lot of our detractors are thinking the same way you're thinking. I'm thinking let them keep thinking that way, and we're going to capitalize, bottom line.
I agree. We was close in a lot of games last year, and we knew it was a mess. So I'm thinking you clean up a few of those games and look, you're right at 10 wins. So that's what I expect. 10 wins, at least. Anything above, salute. And that's when I know we're going to new heights. But 10 wins, I don't see no less than 10 wins. What you think?
Mozzy, go ahead. Go ahead, Mozzy.
I'm looking at 8-4 with Pops under center.
Yeah, 8-4.
All because of the quarterback.
9-3. What we doing? 12 games this year. 8-4, 9-3. somewhere in that atmosphere.
So you saying he'll lose the games because his arm gonna give out or something?
Something gonna give out for sure. I don't know what.
See, it's all
For
about the quarterback.
100%. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be his hip or his pelvis, or I don't know. I know one thing: Coach O better better have a cooler full of Ensure on the sideline. That's all I can tell him.
A cooler full of Ensure
That's
for
right.
for a
Vanilla
29-year-old
flavor.
vanilla
Vanilla
flavor
flavor. Yeah,
for a
vanilla flavor.
29-year-old quarterback that Mozzy is pretending like he's 69. That's
Hey,
absolute. This is not right for what you're
and
saying
and
about the
in
man.
dog years, he man, that's insane, bro. I that's fine. However, I
Well,
told you,
I look at it like this: when you win multiple championships, you don't most of the time win them all the same way. So we don't have to win the championship like Joe Burrow team did. We could be a ball control, getting turnovers, milking the clock, and still wins like that. A good running game and defense is still a good formula to win the not Super Bowl, NCAA championship still.
Oh no, it is. I give you that, but I just want to ask you a question, Q. So if let's say G and Robin were like big into karate or whatever, right? So and I knew a 22-year-old kid that said, "Yo, I can kick their ass," they roughly the same weight or whatever. Would you let them like have the little karate tournament or whatever? No, you wouldn't, because he's like a decade older. You see how that works?
My goodness. They're 12, 13, and 14 years of age.
Okay, so if a
How's that
21-year-old guy
How is that
wanted to fight
equivalent
them
to?
because that's an 8-year gap.
That is not.
It's relatively the same gap, though,
It is
right?
not. It is not the same circumstance. You're really good at trying to make a point with things that you can't connect to what's going on here. I see what you're trying to do, but that doesn't fit there.
I
It
bought the
doesn't fit
bottle
there.
of beer at 12 o'clock. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I'm saying that doesn't fit there. Is what I'm saying. It doesn't fit. It's not the same. You talking about a 29-year-old quarterback
30,
versus
but go ahead.
30 when the season started, 30-year-old versus 21, 22, and 23. It's not like he's a big giant, an 8-foot giant, and they're all small people running
I,
around. And he's clubbing them on their head like a game of a
I
gopher or
love how
something.
y'all tack an extra 2 years on those people's time. 22, 23. What SEC quarterback besides our quarterback is 23? I'll wait.
I'm sorry, I don't have an issue. I really don't have an issue with him. I'm sorry, I don't know what the Uncle Mozzie has an issue with the man's age. I don't have an issue with it. As long as we win, it's straight, it's legal. I don't have. I'm about wins and losses, baby. I don't know about kung fu or people trying to 22-year-old trying to do kung fu and all this. I would just say I would just say I would kick that guy's ass. I don't care what I would have. I would just have to whoop the piss out of him. You something, Jack. I'm sorry. I'm rough like that. But I'm just saying, as far as football is concerned, you got a 30-year-old quarterback, 29, 30-year-old quarterback. You got guys on the team that's 20 and 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, or 24. It doesn't matter. The college game is a version of the NFL. It's a lower version, and some people believe is superior in many aspects to the college game, to the professional game. But what you see in the college game is in many cases what you're going to see in the pro game. Not all of the pros are around the same age. You got some guys in their mid 30s, some a little older. You got some guys in their teens, 19, 20, 21. So you're going to have to learn to make that work. So if you got an older player who has a little bit more experience, you're just going to have to get on your square. You're just going to have to get into your books. You're going to have to study. You're going to have to learn from older players how to beat older players or how to mature in the game. So, I mean, what you see at the professional level is what you're going to see to a degree at the college level. So that's what I'm saying, what you're missing there. But as far as the main thing is not so much about his age, because remember, Uncle Mozzie saying the age thing, talking about you got to keep a cooler full of Ensure vanilla favor for Max Johnson. But the reality is not so much that. What it really is the fact that he is really don't want to take the pressure or take the words of the national press saying that we're winning games because of Max Johnson's age. That is what he can't stand. And that is why he's speaking, oh, they're going to make fun of us at the national level because we have a 29-year-old, 30-year-old player in college. That's Uncle Mozzie's real standpoint with this whole college ridiculousness with the quarterback. This is what really is now. Now, could you confirm that by saying that's 100% facts?
No, that's 100% facts. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
I do not want to be the
he was honest about that. See that, Lisa. But who cares if they laughing? Those critics don't mean anything to the Purple and Gold Nation. They've been criticizing us. So why would you give a damn about what their commentary is? That's my last question, Max, before we end the show.
That's for the streets, bro. Nobody wants the chick that's for the streets.
How does that equate to Max Johnson? How's the chick from the streets connected to Max Johnson? Could you explain
for the streets,
that?
Bro. Max Johnson is for the streets.
How?
Straight up.
Explain that to me.
Bro, it's the
how
same
is Max
thing,
Johnson
bro. Like,
a street girl? This is what you're saying.
No, listen. Just like the press is gonna tear us apart because we got a 30-year-old quarterback playing with a bunch of 18-year-olds. It's the same thing if you pull up at like, I don't know, the Zulu Bowl, right? With like the chick, the you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my goodness.
Like she ran through the whole like Cali or whatever, like you at the Zulu Bowl with her, like, yo, this babe. Like, man, what? She for the streets, Q, don't do it. And that's what I'm telling you about Max, bro. He's for the streets. Leave him alone.
I just don't see how you equate the woman from the streets, the old girl from the streets, and Max Johnson. I don't get the correlation. Why? Because he's an older quarterback? Is that what you're saying? I don't get it.
Listen, it's about how it looks. It's really not about it's about the look of it. It's just about the eye test of it.
But what if you winning? What if you winning games? You're winning with the quarterback. I don't know about the old girl from the streets and Max Johnson. He's for the streets. All this kind of talk. I don't get that part of it. All I'm saying is the only problem you have with this guy is that his age, and it looks bad because the critics are going to try to use it against us. I'm saying that shouldn't be the focus of your thinking. The focus of your thinking should be wins and losses. That's all I'm going to say on that.
If you and I were playing Madden, right, and I loaded up my this is back in the day, and I loaded up my profile card, right, and I had my own creative player, and dude like 30 years old and like 6'5" and ran like a 4.3. You'd be like, yo, where you going with this creative player, bro? Like, you can't play with a guy that's on a game.
Oh my goodness!
Like, this is, you see what I'm saying?
No.
Like, that's what you'd ask me, right?
How is he up? Now he's not the girl from the streets no more. Now he's a creative player.
This is what I'm saying, man. Like,
I don't know what you said. I'm lost.
He's a bro. Like, I'm really concerned. Like, I'm really concerned with how people would view us or look at us if we won, like with a 30-year-old quarterback playing with a bunch of 19-year-olds.
But that shouldn't be the frame of your thinking because it's not immoral or illegal. It is.
It's definitely unethical.
How?
It may not be illegal, but it's unethical. It's no different than a professor sleeping with one of his students. It's the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it with that, man. That's I ain't gonna leave it to, I don't know what I can't do it. I try my best to try to make sense of this whole narrative.
So if a 30-year-old English professor slept with his 19-year-old student, would that be okay?
That would be okay because she decided to do it.
Oh no.
How would it be decided to do it? I mean, who cares? Who cares as long as they happen? They were operating together. Who cares?
I bet you the LSU board of directors care.
If it's a no, what you call it, commingling policy or whatever you want to call it, no fraterization policy, then that would be in violation of what they're doing. But if she old enough and he old enough and they made a decision to be together, that's not the first time that happened. That's happened all the time. So I mean, that don't have nothing to do with football.
And generally speaking, whoever is tied to the professional career would have to leave that career in order to be with that person.
Listen to this, Uncle Mozzy. Tim says it best. He says, you care too much about what people think. Shake them haters off. And that is what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be caring so much about what these haters are saying about what you're going to do if you start winning. Well,
let's all care about what the haters say. We hate the fact that LSU is always looked at as the fourth or fifth best team in the SEC. None of us like that, but then we go get 30-year-old quarterbacks, and then we have the nerve to ask
quarterback.
Take us seriously.
I mean, like I said, I'm not buying that, bro. I just think that if the guy is not doing anything wrong, it's not wrong for him to be a 29-year-old student athlete. healthy enough to play the game of football.
And all I'm gonna tell y'all is, if
he plays the game
seriously, and then we become the laughing stock,
they can laugh we'll laugh all the way to the college championship, man. Max Johnson gives us the best opportunity to win. And I don't care if Alabama people make fun of his age. That shows their immaturity level. Or anybody else that's making fun of the fact that we have a 28 or 29-year-old student athlete. I mean, they can do the same thing, so it's not immoral or illegal or wrong. He's healthy enough to play the position. It's about wins and losses. I don't care what the haters say. I don't care if they make fun of us. They let them keep making fun of us as we pile up these wins, these W's in the SEC. That's all I care about, Uncle Mozzy. I'm gonna just keep it real. Now, all the talk about him being the girl on the streets and all that, I don't know nothing about none of that. What you talking about, Uncle? I'm gonna go to GM Kev, and then GM Kev. Let's close out the show. Uncle Mozzy said he's not a fan of Max Johnson, obviously. So, what's your thought process as we get ready to close down the stream?
It's unusual. I got to give Mozzy that. But, I look at Max Johnson, like you said, Q, for this year, he give us the best chance to win. And I don't know why we can't beat Alabama. They starting over, too. They have a young quarterback. So
Mozzy ain't making fun of him, though.
But we know Nick Saban. And if there was a 29, 28-year-old quarterback out there who gave him the best chance to win, he would get him. He would recruit him.
That's right.
So, I'm looking forward to, like I said, at least 10 wins or higher. The defense is in place, it seems. We got pieces on the offense. Yeah, I see 10 wins. I'm still going to stick with that.
Uncle Mozzy, we're going to give it to you to close out the show, my friend.
What other college quarterback right now, active quarterback, was alive when All Eyes on Me dropped? Simple question. He would have been. He would have been about 3 or 4 years old, so he wouldn't really would have known what that was. He'd have been 5. He'd have been 5.
Okay,
but
he'd been 5 years old.
But wrap your mind around that. Like, our quarterback was alive when All Eyes on Me debuted. That's insane, bro. I mean, I guess. I guess. 8-4, 9-3 is what I'm looking at, brother. Chick-fil-A Bowl, Peach Bowl. I'm taking on all bets. It's a combination rice from Chinese Kitchen, and it's gonna be $10, $10 bet, but it's gotta be paid in all pennies.
All right, well there it is. We're gonna leave it on that. That's very interesting take right there. But we're gonna leave it on that. I'd like to thank everybody, man, for listening to Tough Tiger Talk tonight. Much love the entire Purple and Gold Nation. Much love to you guys. We appreciate your support. Please feel free to subscribe to Tough Tiger Talk. Also, please feel free to hit the like button and share the show's link on your social media feed, among other Tough Tiger family members and LSU football family members who love the Tigers, man. And I'd like to thank Uncle Mozzy and GM Kev for being here tonight on the show. And we'll be back for another episode of Tough Tiger Talk on Tuesdays, next Tuesday. And we can't wait to see what Uncle Mozzy has to say. Next week, we'll have some more recruiting news, and then we'll talk some more other football news. So once again, we appreciate you fellas for chiming in, and go Tigers to you.
Go Tigers. Let's do it.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
You're now listening to Tough Tiger Talk with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.